Oh, good morning, most incredibly amazing Facebook. How are you this morning, my lovely and amazing little minions? It's so nice to see you. I hope you are having a just glorious and delicious Thanksgiving. I hope that you have made it through whatever it is you go through in a Thanksgiving day. We don't really formally celebrate Thanksgiving in our world, but we do eat a lot of food with some really good friends. And usually we go to San Francisco, which is where I'm coming at you live from today. So I don't know if you knew that there was still going to be an F Shut Up Friday, but there is, and here I am. And there are two really incredibly glorious things that I want to talk about today. The first thing that I want to talk about is some exceptional advocacy that has been done by a student of mine. So I have a really beautiful and amazing uh, set of students who have been learning that engaging in advocacy is a really powerful thing, and that advocacy can happen in a bunch of different ways. And one of the ways that that happened for a student of mine was that he sent me an email that says, advocacy, yay! And we use a book in our class, our intro to social work class, that that has a chapter in it about substance abuse. And he was reading our chapter, and he came to class and he said, I don't think that the way the textbook talks about substance abuse is really appropriate, and they're using antiquated terms that we don't use anymore, and this is really problematic for me. And I said to him, well, why don't you send an email to the publisher or the authors, because the authors are all listed in the back of the book. And I said, why don't you send an email to the authors and say to them, hey, this is wrong, and I think this is how this should be written. And so I'm going to share his email with you all, because this is just a really phenomenal way that you can infiltrate and make a difference in institutions where you think you can't make a difference. And he said to me, the textbook publisher emailed me a proof of the next edition's chapter on addiction, asking me to look it over and give them feedback. So I did, and made some recommendations to them about changing some of the language to be person first, which is, of course, what we really want when we're talking about substance abuse, not using the label addict, alcoholic, clean, or junkie. I made a few other suggestions as well and sent it off to them. They replied and said they're going to make all of the changes. I think I just successfully advocated for people with substance abuse disorder, and it feels great. Substance use disorder, and it feels great. I mean, who would have thought that a student could send an author an email and get changes made to a book that'll have thousands of copies printed and used by students all across the country? That's just wild. And this is, I think, the point that I've been trying to make on my blog, and by doing these videos and getting them out into the world, is that you might not think that your little bit can make a difference, but your little bit can be the difference between social work students. Hi, Kevra. It's nice to see you. Oh, thank you so much for your comment. Kevra just said that every day, showing us every day's ways we can advocate as normal, everyday people. Sometimes it feels like I need to be XYZ before we can advocate. And that's exactly the point. Like, this student was like, I just don't like this language, and so I'm going to change it. And he did. And he feels so empowered. And he even said to me, now I'm going to go do more things. Kevra, you're making this really phenomenal point. Like, the advocacy does not have to be done by professionals. In fact, advocacy is better when it's done just by human beings who are passionate about something. And I think it's really, really, really awesome and important that we remember that that's how advocacy looks. This is not about professional lobbyists going out and doing something. It's not about people who have been specially trained to go out and doing something. I want everybody in the world to tap into what makes them feel passionate so that they can then go out and make a difference in their communities. Because otherwise, we're going to keep getting all these emails that are like, you need to do this, and you need to do this, and you need to do this. And we don't, because I can't advocate about the environment and about veterans and about substance abuse and about all of these other things, because I just have to advocate for what makes me feel passionate. And what makes me feel passionate is empowering women to go out and change the world in whatever way makes them feel passionate. And also ensuring that social work students and social workers have a voice. And one of the incredible things that has happened at USC, which is where I got my PhD from, is there has been, and I blogged about this a couple of weeks ago, which kind of was the inspiration for Fuck Shit Up Friday, actually, was that there is an USC's dean of the medical school has been fired for harassment. There's another person that was fired for harassment. And then the School of Social Work had a professor, which is where I graduated from, had a professor be found guilty of harassment and yet has not been fired. And so there has been this uproar by the students. Well, one of the students just posted about a professor that, a woman who was released from her post, and the students are in uproar about it because they loved her and she was a really phenomenal professor, and the students weren't included in the decision by the dean to let this woman go 2 weeks before the semester ended. And they were really upset because, and I quote these students, which is, again, a really powerful form of advocacy. They posted this publicly on Facebook in an effort to be heard, because the dean of the School of Social Work at USC was not responding publicly to their request to talk. And so they said, many of the students who were part of Professor Holmes' 506 class were deeply disturbed by an abundance of factors. Listed below are some of the concerns we hope you are able to take into consideration. First, this cohort has been told that it was normal to continue to employ a guilty sexual predator in a home office away from the students that he was found guilty of sexually harassing. In short, we are forced to accept that we may see a sexual predator, Eric Guerrero, waltzing around campus. And then they quoted the sexual harassment code from the Code of Ethics. And this is where I think it gets really fantastic. These are first-year MSW students, just like my first-year Intro to Social Work student, who are saying enough is enough. Hey, Chrissy, how you doing? Who are saying enough is enough. We're quoting the Code of Ethics that all social workers have to abide by, that social workers should not sexually harass clients. And then they talked about how 3 of their colleagues had survived the first abrupt professor change in one of their 546 classes, and they brought it back to the Code of Ethics again about interdisciplinary collaboration, where social workers who are members of an interdisciplinary team should participate in and contribute to decisions that affect the well-being of others. And this is really phenomenal, because these students, both in my class and these students at USC, are saying this is the field of social work. And if we can't abide by our own Code of Ethics to ensure that the future social workers that are being trained not only are of the highest caliber, but understand our ethics so deeply that they can go out and then empower their clients, then we are doing a huge disservice. And I think that is the beauty of my student writing to an author saying, I think this could be better, that this language could be better in this book, and not only have him be listened to. Hey, Christy, I can't believe they publicly posted it either, but I'm so proud of them for doing it, because they talk about social workers and getting answers to questions. And I think that's really, really critical and amazing. And this is the thing I want, Kevra, I want to go back to your comment. Like, we don't have to have all of the tools in line perfectly before we can advocate. The trick is to just go out and say it and do it. And if you can do it publicly and feel safe, then go out publicly and do it. And if you have to just write a private letter to your elected official, then that's what you do. Or if you have to have an interaction with someone that you know is in a position of power that can actually make the difference, then that's what you do. But the way we fuck shit up and the way we infiltrate the membranes of power and privilege is that we do whatever it is that makes us feel called to engage in ethical and honest policymaking in a way that is going to change and shift the dynamics of the power structure. And that's why I think it's really critically important that students like the students at USC continue to speak out when they see injustice and harassment taking place. And when students see that our own textbooks are not speaking about the clients that we serve in a way that is okay. And the last thing I want to talk about on Fuck Shit Up Friday are the things that I am grateful for. And I am grateful for activists on my Facebook wall that talk about racism and that talk about genocide and that talk about things in a way that make me think and make me critically analyze the choices that I make in my own life and the way I speak in my own life. I am grateful for a partner that really supports all of the work that I am doing. And when I come up with really crazy wackadoodle ideas, says, oh my God, that's so genius, you should try that and see if it works, which usually it does. Like the training that I'm doing, the Fanning the Flames training that I did in Indiana last fall, and that I'm doing again in January in Massachusetts. And there's more info about that on my website, and I'll get to that in a minute. But doing these trainings all over the country to train women about how to tap into their passion, and developing coaching programs so that I can work one-on-one with people to help them really tap into and dive deep into their passion, and from a very feminist, empowering place, so that we can change the world for women all over the country, and to help train women to run for office by working with my friend Melanie, who's just a total rock star, to develop programs that women who are running for office or who want to run for office in the next 2 years can become a part of, so that we are empowering a whole new generation of women to take over all of the elected positions at all different levels of government, from the city all the way up to the federal government. And I am really grateful for the 3 kids that I get to help raise with my partner, who just totally kicked my butt in Monopoly, and we now have named Sean Tycoon Kelly, because he apparently is a tycoon. And I hate Monopoly, but I'm really happy I got to play with them. And for my best friend and my best gay and my darling love, Matthew Dankla, who every single day reminds me that I am a good person who can do whatever I want and whatever I set my mind to, and who gives me the space to be able to come to San Francisco, my favorite city, and be able to visit and really engage in really kick-ass love. And so my Fuck Shit Up Friday is all about figuring out what you're grateful for, and then going out and doing something about passing on that message to other people. And I do that through my website at birdgirlindustries.com, which is where you can find out if you're in Massachusetts or on the East Coast. I always get this opposite. If you're on the East Coast, you can totally join me in Massachusetts on the 17th of January for a really amazing breakfast training with really good food and really good, awesome kick-assery called Fanning the Flames. And if you are so inclined to support the Bird Girl, you can support me monthly on Patreon.com at Bird Girl. Look how easy I make this for everybody. You can totally follow me on Patreon, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at BirdGirl1001. 1001 is my birthday, 10-1. I'm a Libra, clearly. And so this makes it really easy, because you can just follow the Bird Girl on her birthday at Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Patreon. And if you become one of my supporters on Patreon, you get extra bonus Bird Girl material and some fun stuff. So that's really cool. And I'm really grateful to all of you who are either watching this live or are going to watch it in the future. And I hope you share this Facebook Live, because I really think that it really brings home what just a couple of people can do to sort of set the world on fire. And that's really, really, really what I want is for more people to just be set up on fire. And so if you are so inclined, share this Facebook Live and know that there's going to be some really good stuff coming out of the Monday Mayhem. And I'm just really happy to be able to share this space with all of you. And I thank you all for your support. And I hope you have a rocking weekend. Talk to you later. Go fuck some shit up, okay? It's time. Bye-bye.